Saw Alec Martinez skating before. How's he look compared to before?
I haven't heard any update, but that was the plan was today for him to just go on his own. And usually with that, lower body injuries, they're just gonna see how it reacts tomorrow. So that's all I got on that one.
What was the emphasis on practice today?
Obviously we had trouble handling their speed in the D zone, a lot of switches, whether it was 5-on-5 or the PK. So we just wanted to, really go over the D zone responsibilities and neutral zone responsibilities just to make it easier to break out, because our neutral zone plan is to kind of clog it up on one side and have two forwards, or at least one closer to the D, to keep the D on their own sides to help break out easier. And when we did do it, it led to offensive forechecks, 2 goals off of that, some good chances. When we didn't do it, which was too many times, was too much D zone time, usually results in a penalty or a really good scoring chance or a goal.
There's been a few poor starts this year. How do you coach that? How do you coach them to show up on time?
Yeah, I think this game wasn't like the last 2 games. It was like we were feeling out the game. This one, obviously, we had 2 quick turnovers on the first shift, which can't happen. You kind of entrust those guys starting the game to get the game off to a good start. But it didn't seem like we had no pushback or get up and go in this period. It was a different one, but still, same result. So, you know what, we talk about it, and it's only happened really once that the whole game we didn't get on a good roll after that and give ourselves a good push. I just felt like we were chasing it the whole game, where the other 2 games we kind of climbed back in the second and pushed. This is a different scenario, but same result, so obviously can't happen. So talked a little bit about being a little bit more connected, so that's why we did work on that. I think the things that I mentioned, like our neutral zone forecheck, not kind of wedging like a reverse home plate, like a 1-2-2, getting it to one side where you know where it is, or it's a heave pass to the other side, which our weak side D will handle, because usually the guy's by himself. Usually that leads to easier breakouts, easier regroups, which always leads to offense. And we just didn't do that well last night. So that's what we discussed, and part of that is our start. Like, we got to be on our system. If we're not on our structure and our system, then there's one guy doing one thing and 4 other guys guessing, and we can't do that. We're not at that stage yet where we can go a little bit rogue with 10 high star players like Tampa Bay a few years ago, or Colorado a few years ago, like those teams. We're not there obviously yet, so we have to stay 100% on structure for 60 minutes. So you can't be 60 minutes if we don't play the first minute right.
So, saw you talking to Reichel after practice for a while. What were you telling him?
Just about his last few games. I thought 2 games ago he got more results, obviously, but I still liked some of his, his offensive bursts and trying to shoot pucks more. And he's not cheating on the defensive side. He's playing hard and his stick battles. He's showing he wants to stay in there. And I said, you got to just keep doing that and inch along some offense in there when you can, and look to strike when you can. And hopefully he can get a little bit more time in the power play. We'll look to try and get him some of that too. I thought he had one good burst in. I think it was a quick regroup, and then they called it offside by a fraction. Otherwise, he could have been in almost not alone, but maybe for a good opportunity. So, just saying he's doing good things. We wanted just to, same as when someone is struggling or does something that's a little bit off of our structure, you try and talk to them and bring them back. You want to make sure you talk to them when they do something well as well.
Did you gain any better understanding of the Canucks offside?
I get it, but I don't know. There is some wording that we were trying to look up in the book it might be a little bit gray in how we interpret it, because a lot of it is very lawyer language in there. So that's over my head. But it's just they were definitely Andrew Smith, I think, was the guy we were talking to, the linesman, and he was great to try and communicate in a timely manner, like what they saw, and he was 100% on it. So we have to go with that. Like, if that's the rule, that the way they're instructed to call it, then we have to live by that and make sure we do a better job that it doesn't happen.
With the too many men on the ice penalty too, how do you get the guys to shake off both of those and try to refocus on the actual game?
Yeah, it's like reacting after a goal. Whether you score a goal or you get scored against, I think the next shift you have to. If you want to create momentum in a game, you have to be really good. If you fall back, if you just scored, and the building's buzzing or the other building is like, ooh, you know, like it's down, you can't let them come back, or you got to create your momentum even more, and it makes it very delirious for the other team. And I think that's the same with a call or a missed call or a call that you don't think is right. I think we have to shake that off in the next shift. We got to create our own momentum again and not let that affect what we're doing in the future.
Is that hard to do when you're down in a game and you're trying to get that break and you don't get
Yeah,
it?
and it's easy for me to say because I'm standing here, or even on the bench, I get more heated than people in the stands because I'm closer to it and I'm more invested to it. But the players are the ones that are really heated, the ones that their heart's pumping and they're in game mode. It's hard to reset, but the best players do.
Bedard has had a lot of chances, especially last night, but just one goal this year. Do you sense any frustration from him, or what's your message to him?
No, I don't think he's too frustrated. I think he keeps calm. I think he gets a little frustrated at instant moments and moves on. He's got some good maturity in that area. But I think, I'd like to see him, shoot the puck a little bit more, maybe a little quicker. But he knows that, and sometimes it doesn't present itself. So, like when he starts you don't want him to start forcing it either. I think he's going to be a guy that's when it goes in, there's going to be a lot of them go in. And he's a point of game guy, I think, still, and a plus player. So I think there's some great strides going there for him, and he's worked. He was in a couple clips today in the video as well, working on the right side of the puck in the D zone. So those are areas that he's really improved on. And once the scoring starts clicking, and I think sometimes in the power play, people are going to key on him even more. Then sometimes that we score in the power play and he doesn't get a point. Well, in our minds, he's doing his job. They're double covering him, or one guy's leaning to him more, like kind of an Ovechkin situation. It makes the rest of the power play better. So that's somewhere where I think he understands that as well.
We all silly like the mayor.